Well, I'm really looking forward to the Gasparilla Film Festival because that's actually in my neck of the woods, so I'll be able to go up and meet with you.
Oh, great. What is that? Hang on. What is that, Tampa?
It is Tampa, yes, sir.
Okay, good. Well, that's where we filmed the Punisher movie, okay.
What was that experience like shooting in Tampa?
We tried to make it look as dark and dirty as possible, which was not easy. And sunny Florida, it's a beautiful part of the world. And what I enjoyed the most about it was the thunderstorms that we got.
Yeah, it's pretty schizophrenic weather here.
Yeah. So I was digging the dark clouds and thunderstorms. We definitely tried to, get some of that on film because it was really pretty. And that's what I remember the most is sitting outside my beautiful penthouse apartment on the bay and looking out at these incredible cumulus thunderstorm clouds as they'd roll in, and it would storm for about 20 minutes, and then it would quit. I guess at the time I thought that it matched my character's inner persona or inner life.
Well, this character in The Punisher, it was something that you were very passionate about, wasn't it?
Yes, I to tell you the truth, I've been collecting comics all my life, but I hadn't read any of the Punisher comics until they offered me, the part. Initially, I turned it down because I just wasn't into superhero stuff. And then the Marvel guys pointed out that Frank Castle is the only sort of non-superhero in the whole Marvel universe.
It really is the humanity of Frank Castle that definitely appeals to me, and I know probably all other fans of the movie and the comic series. That movie was came out prior to The Dark Knight, I believe. So audiences weren't necessarily used to a very kind of human, flawed comic book film.
Yeah, that was really upsetting for me. Is that I spent the whole time I was working on that movie through that movie, and then the work that I put into the sequel that I aborted. My whole mantra was the flawed anti-hero, the dark world. Basically, everything that the Dark Knight turned out to be, I was pitching and fighting for Frank Castle, and then of course the Dark Knight went on to make $500 million around the world. So that was, kind of bittersweet for me. It was vindicating. It was also, frustrating.
Yeah.
Because those are that's what I know that there's an audience for that kind of character, because that's the kind of stuff that I personally love. I've always loved the movie Rolling Thunder and Taxi Driver, and and I'm a fan of the Dark Knight series and Death Wish and all that stuff, and I do think that now more than ever there's a good need for that kind of catharsis in our society.
I think so too. I was thinking about that today when I was reflecting on the movie. I mean, it's a very kind of, in terms of the themes that character in that film explores, it's very primal. I mean, he's almost like the avenging angel, and I think that does fit in with our frustration now. I think we need a character like that.
Yeah, and further than that, going further than the avenging angel, I think what you've got is really a lot of what John Ford and John Wayne did with the Searchers is that you've got a character who society needs a guy to guard the gates, and as a guardian of the gates of hearth and home and family and love, you yourself are excluded from those things that you're guarding, and I think that everybody can relate to that in a way. Everybody, everybody, the truth is that real love is willing to get your hands dirty for things that you love and and make sacrifices so that the people that you respect don't have to, So it's someone who basically breaks the law and becomes a criminal, so that you don't have to. And I love that sacrifice. I love that outsider badge that people, can sort of decide to wear themselves. Nobody anoints them as guardian. It's a self prescribed position. Something that it's a mantle that you decide to take up based on your own experience, and that's sort of the definition of a vigilante, right? You've decided to fight for what you know to be right, and at the expense of being able to enjoy those rights yourself. The shit's deep, and that's why I think it's such a rewarding and character, and to just kind of label him as an angry guy who kills people because they killed his family is really selling the whole concept short.
Well, you made a short film a little while ago that is just incredible. It's phenomenal. Your short film. It's the Punisher Dirty Laundry, and that was an amazing short. But do you have hopes that you can return to Frank Castle in a feature film form?
I actually did the short because my short was kind of a way of sort of saying goodbye to that character in a way that, and sort of leaving a taste of what of the world that lives, the Frank Castle that sort of lives inside of me. I just wanted to get a little taste of that out as a homage to a character that I love and a sort of a genre a take on a genre that I'm partial to. I'm very partial to the work of the 60s pulp crime novelists, the Donald Starks and the Harry Whittingtons, the Parker character, and then all of the great stuff that was put out in sort of the late 50s, all through and really kind of continues to this day in the Hard Case Crime series. And I thought that the Frank Castle character, having been born out of that world in the pulp crime novel called The Executioner, that's really where I see the roots of that kind of character, which is right in line with Death Wish, and the Point Blank with Lee Marvin, that kind of stuff. I see a wide open door that can really be mine. People love that kind of stuff if it's done right. So whether we do it with the Frank Castle character or maybe some other character,
I completely agree with you. I mean, I'm hungry for those types of characters again that were especially prominent in 70s cinema that I adore. Yeah. But this is what I'm curious about, because you founded your own comic studio, Raw Studios. Mm-hmm. All of these character traits and all of these influences that you're talking about, do you find that those are at play when you're putting together your comic books?
Yeah, we intend to explore that kind of territory. We started out just for fun, some science fiction comics and some stuff that I had written, and we were very successful with the Bad Planet series, and we recently came out with the adaptation of my movie Dark Country, which was also very successful, illustrated by Thomas Ott, who's one of my favorite illustrators. And where I'd love to explore some of that, territory that we've been talking about within my own imprint. I working on some stuff like that right now. And I guess I am sort of branching out with the Dirty Laundry, which I produced, and I guess we're taking matters into our own hands. And I'm directing my first theatrical feature this summer. It's a Western.
Wow.
That we're putting together called A Magnificent Death from a Shattered Hand, and we're very excited to have invited Nick Nolte to join us and some other terrific actors.
I saw the cast that you're assembling, and I'm really excited about this project. First of all, because Westerns are so rare nowadays, and they're the great American cinematic tradition. So I always welcome a new Western, and your cast is just phenomenal, and I'm so pleased that you're getting behind the camera again.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean that's really the way it's got to be. I mean, I have a very specific vision about what, and I always have, and I'm probably been a pain in the ass to work with as an actor because I'm constantly asking the director and the cinematographer, questions that I shouldn't be as an actor, but it's hard for me. I bring them reference material and I bring them photographs and books and costume pieces and try to influence the world, because the world that I see, and to tell you the truth, I like the world that I've created for these movies better than the movies themselves that have come out. So it's just a occupational hazard, like they say.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to direct, but it's really been in my blood since the beginning, and I feel like all the acting that I've done over the years has really been training for getting behind the camera. So I'm really excited to be doing that. I've always been good with story and scripts, and I've contributed to greatly to the script that we're doing, and actors are really responding to it. I'm very excited about sort of a new phase in my career where although I'll probably have to be an actor for hire in the foreseeable future, I foresee a place where I would just be producing and directing my own stuff. And frankly, I'm more excited about that than I am about getting in front of the camera.
Well, tell me why that is. Is it the fact that just directing feels all around more creative, or?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You're the storyteller, and although I love acting and I love actors, a great deep respect for them and what they do, I've just never been happy in just interpreting the script and then leaving it and going home and going on to the next job where the producer and the director and the editor go and get to have the real fun of creating the piece of art, the piece of the world that everybody gets to see. I mean, for me, that's always been the reason to do what we do. I've always loved it. A lot of actors, don't get involved with that. They've got no desire to do it, and I'm, that's fine. But I've never been that way. I've always been more excited about, what the process, I think, than most of my peers, and just like when we made The Mist with Frank Darabont, I literally sat in the editing room with Frank and watched him put the movie together for about 8 weeks, And for me, that was like a, incredibly instrumental experience. I learned a hell of a lot from Frankie.
Well, you've worked with the greatest directors there are. I mean, from P.T. Anderson to Darabont to Malick they're all over the place.
I worked with a lot of good ones. That's true.
Absolutely. Before I let you go, because I know that you have other interviews coming up, but you're receiving a Career Achievement Award at the Gasparilla Film Fest. How does that make you feel to receive a Career Achievement Award?
I feel like I'm just getting started, so I'm sure I feel like it's very nice, and I'm honored to be honored at the film festival, and but mostly I just look to the future and what's ahead. I have a lot of stuff left to do, so I just this is good. It spurs me on to get busier and stay busy.
Yeah. Well, when you look at back at the beginning of your career, when you first decided, I'm going to give acting a shot, and I know you did theater and then you got into film, and then you look at where you are now. I mean, is it different than you expected it to be, or does it exceed what your expectations were?
Well, my expectations were to just make acting a career. I just wanted to make a living at it, and I wanted to excel at the craft, And it's up and down. I mean, sometimes I feel like I've made a contribution, and other times, I feel like I have not, and I got a lot. I still have a ways to go, but my goal has always been to give something back to the art that's inspired me so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for a lot of people, whether it's more than just entertainment. I think that it can change lives, and it could change attitudes, and storytelling can influence as culture. I just want to create as much. I just want to give back,